hill. That was lag. Okay. But yeah, I need to finish removing this hill in order to bring the various things which I plan to build enough sanity and space that I don't need to perform a lot of extra work in order to create a well-made redstone machine of any variety that I intend to use. This basically creates a nice clean canvas for me. And because I'm not in creative mode, it does take more time, but it also allows me to gather all of the different materials that I need so that I'm capable of performing this task in a variety of different speeds, really, based on what I'm using. So, for example, I'm using a lot of stone shovels because this is sort of one of those projects where I'm just going to throw away a lot of material to get the project done. So I'm using resources that I know are renewable, such as the... Actually, don't I need a body piece? I do need a body piece. That's why I saved my old iron armor. Such as all of the cobblestone that's used in order to create the pickaxes. The various sticks, the twigs that are being used are also renewable resources. If I wanted to, I could easily and simply just go out and collect a bunch more trees from the forest, and I can easily just hold on. I'm currently reserving the space for my cobblestone. So yeah, I can easily go out to the forest and chop down a bunch of the trees out there, and I can bring the trees back here and make more twigs. And that will allow me to generate more tools, you know. I can generate more axes, I can generate more pickaxes, more axes, more hatchets, you know. And I can generate all kinds of different useful materials. But I still need to go out there and actually harvest the material. If I don't, then what I'm left with is just nothing useful. I'm probably going to resurface all of this with that polished basalt block, because I think that'll look nice for spawn. I want to put that there. Okay. And the spare. I didn't break anything, did I? No. Okay. Because I think it'll just look nice. I will be using the materials next to where that nether portal exits. And that means that I'm going to need to protect the portal from the nether side of the portal. Because if I don't, then I will inevitably end up blowing up my base again. That happened once already, and I didn't like it. And I don't want it to happen again. So I'm going to have to protect my base by just not letting it get blown up, not letting the portal get shot at, and basically keeping everything all nice and securely tucked away and stuff. I also plan to expand this kelp farm. I want to drop the whole thing down by 2 blocks so that when I do come out here to harvest it, I'm not only getting 2.5 stacks. I want to get, I actually want to drop it 3 blocks because that'll be 3 full stacks if my math is correct, which I do believe it is. It usually is. And that will be nice because that will mean that I won't have to harvest as often in order to fuel the furnace once everything's all filled up and fueled up. And B, it means that when my character runs out of food, for whatever reason, which totally should not happen now that I have the cooked chicken, and now that I have the wheat farm and the well, now the kelp farm as well. And of course all the carrots. Gotta love the carrots. He went to Jared. That's my that's what my YouTube logo says, in case you're well, not my YouTube logo. That's what my YouTube profile picture says. It's Gollum from Lord of the Rings holding a Dragon Ball 4 ring, which is a ring with the 4-star Dragon Ball inset into the ring, as though it was the gemstone that went in the ring. And then Gollum's holding it up in the scene where he retrieved quite rudely the ring from Frodo, and he held it up to marvel at it before Sam hit him and he fell into the lava, or whoever hit him. I think it was Sam. It might have been Frodo. But basically, before he got pushed into the lava, he was holding it up, and so someone had taken a screenshot of it, and they captioned it, "He went to Jared," which is, of course, from the lovely ad of Jared Jewelers. Not to be confused with the Subway Jared, which is an entirely different Jared. Not all Jareds are alike. But the comedy of the image was quite striking. So I went ahead and I tweaked the image to have him holding a 4-star Dragon Ball ring instead of the one ring to rule them all, and that way they can't be like, oh, you're using copyrighted material. It's like, no, I modified the material for the purpose of humor, and I then decided to use it as my profile picture. So what I have is a copyright of a what's it called? Creative Commons copyright. What that means is that I'm capable of claiming, this is internationally, by the way, like there's already been rulings on this and everything. I'm capable of claiming that if someone wants to use my profile picture in their content, they have to get my permission first. And that is official. If someone does not get my permission to use the modified image, which I created, then the result could be that they might get sued. That would mean that they are liable. And because they would be liable, that would mean, of course, that they would be in for a very expensive lawsuit where they have to pay a bunch of lawyers, a bunch of money. And of course, once lawyers get involved, it's thousands upon thousands of dollars in court fees and fines and court costs. And it's very expensive, unless, of course, you win, at which point then it's not very expensive at all. But at the same time, you have to actually be correct. You have to be right still. If you're not right, if you're not correct, then you're going to find yourself quite heavily in debt, and you're going to find yourself owing a lawyer a lot of money. Because, basically, they're doing all of this work, and it's a lot of work. My uncle is actually a criminal defense lawyer, so he's a very good one at that. Very skilled. And so, because of that, I'm aware of how much work goes into everything. I don't really spend a lot of time with my uncle because my uncle is just always working. Like every day, all day. He doesn't actually really have much of a social life at all because he just is always reading over documents. He's reciting various court orders that he needs to file. He's very detail-oriented and meticulous, and he reads over it repeatedly. He'll ask his friends, hey, how does this sound? Does this sound good? Does this sound like something that I should say in front of a judge? And if it's not something that they should say in front of a judge, they, of course, tell him, hey, don't say that. No. Instead, try saying something along these lines, because, it sounds much nicer and it will probably get a much better response from the judge. And of course, you want to impress the judge. You want to make the judge happy, because if the judge is not happy, then the judge will, of course, have a very, very bad outlook on the results of the case. However, the judge is not what's supposed to be relevant in the case. The important part of a case is, of course, what facts are true, what actually happened. Can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the person in question actually did the deed in question? And can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there is, of course, a good reason for them acting the way which they acted? If the person did something wrong, then usually what ended up happening is, hello, zombie. Usually what ended up happening is, in my uncle's case, the arresting officers usually did something wrong. So usually the culprit ends up getting released because, for example, they would perform a illegal search on the property of the defendant, and the defendant would be like, hey, I said you couldn't come in here. I said you couldn't search my stuff. What are you doing? And they would search and they'd say, oh, well, we found all this. It's like, well, yeah, because you came in without permission and you searched my stuff. If I knew you were here with permission, that would be different, but you didn't have permission, and you're saying you're here to do all this stuff, and you don't have permission, so what are you doing? Well, you're under arrest for having all this stuff. Well, okay, so, like, they arrest the person, and the person then, of course, has to discuss whether or not they get bond. So they need to discuss whether or not they require to have someone post their bail, and they sometimes will get released on their own recognizance. Which basically means you promise to show up, and if you don't show up, they'll put a warrant out for your arrest. Which, of course, looks bad on paper. So you don't want to get warrants out for your arrest, so show up on time, because that's court, you know? That's legal stuff. Legal stuff is very serious. But, like, he has these clients, and I know he works criminal defense, but you would think the criminals would be smart enough to at least pay him. He has this problem where they don't seem to pay him, and it's really quite rude to not pay a lawyer, much less your own lawyer. But more importantly, it's quite rude to not pay your lawyer after he does something such as get you out of potentially facing, one guy was facing 99 years to life. And he got that guy's sentence reduced down to, I think, like 2 years and then some house arrest or something. Like with I think with an ankle bracelet, a little ankle monitor. But like, that guy's case was very serious, and the guy's court-appointed lawyer was not doing anything. They were not helping at all, and it wasn't fair. And that guy fortunately, I think paid most of his court fines and stuff. So that guy was fine. But like, a lot of my uncle's other clients just don't pay him. And it's really quite annoying because it cuts into his personal life to the point where his clients are driving, new cars, Mazdas, Ferraris, all this stuff. And it's like, oh, that's great. What are you driving? Oh, I bought this car used. This car belonged to someone else before I purchased it, and it's got like 200,000 miles on it, and it's like, oh my good Lord, how is that vehicle still on the road? How's it still functioning? It's one of those situations where my uncle's situation is just not up to par of what it should be for someone who's working as hard as he is to do the things that he does. Like, he'll repeatedly enter into a court case and he'll ask his client, hey, what has your previous lawyer done for you? What kind of motions has he filed? What kind of stuff has he achieved? What prominence has he managed to make in securing your freedom? And the guy will just tell him, like, he hasn't filed anything. It's like, oh, or she hasn't filed anything. It's like, oh, well, okay, so then my uncle goes and files like 100 different entries on all kinds of different evidence suppression of things because, for example, the evidence might have been tampered with. The evidence might be entirely circumstantial and not actually have anything to do with the defendant, and all kinds of other stuff. Maybe the officers failed to file their report correctly. I know that one actually happened to me. The officer entirely failed to accurately file his police report. And as a result, when they arrested me after they tasered me in the face, that's one of my radio stations. I'm supposed to be sleeping right now, probably. But after the officers tasered me in the face, the officer that pulled the trigger filed his report wrong, and he failed to mention in his report that he discharged his taser weapon 3 times into suspect's facial area, and he failed to mention how he had climbed on top of me and he was pinning my hand beneath my chest as he tugged on my arm, and he was shouting, "Stop resisting," after I had blacked out from the taser because I apparently went into a seizure. And I know that I went into a seizure because he also failed to mention that he took me to the emergency room for a CAT scan. And when I got the CAT scan, I, of course, closed my eyes because I didn't want the little laser that was performing the CAT scan to shine at my eyes at the wrong angle and accidentally blind me. That one's a bit of an irrational fear, but it theoretically could happen. So, like, they failed to mention all of that in their report. And because I had blacked out, that means that I had no memory of whether or not they had read me my, what's known as my Miranda rights. That's the thing that they recite after or during the arrest, where they tell the defendant that, you know, they have the right to remain silent. Anything they say can and will be held against them in the court of law. They have the right to an attorney if they choose to refuse this right, blah, 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 all kinds of other stuff. It's very long-winded and very detail-oriented, and it's supposed to be because it is the information that is required by the legal system in order to tell you what you can and cannot do. It is essentially it's the rule book, you know, and a lot of people don't respect that. A lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of people don't really care about that, but they should. Can I hit this zombie? Let me find out. There's one. I think I need 3 for him. I missed that one. Not by much, but I missed. Yeah, I'm not missing by much. It's center mass, it's just not aimed correctly. There we go. So yeah, like, all of his clients are, you know, getting amazing offers on their prison sentence because my uncle comes in and he just does his job. And his job is to be a lawyer. And because he does his job so well, these people get these really amazing offers on their prison sentence, and they're offered basically a second chance on life. They could face, like, never getting out again. And instead they are out after a few years, and then they have an ankle bracelet monitor that tracks their position with GPS, global positioning system. And yeah, like, they're fine after that. But instead, these people opt to not pay my uncle, and they'll go and purchase a new Ferrari instead. And it's like, you people don't understand how this works, do you? Okay? And the reason why it might seem silly that, you know, what's wrong with that? Well, here's what's wrong with that. If they get in trouble again, who are they going to call? Their lawyer? Well, here's the problem with calling their lawyer. They owe their lawyer a bunch of money, thousands of dollars. Sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. It depends on whether or not the case is a felony in my uncle's case, but it's a lot of money. My uncle recently did a lot of work on this one case, and he actually won them the case. His at the time, his law partner wasn't really doing anything on the case, and so my uncle showed up on the case, and he started filing various appeals, various audits, various legal motions, and he fought the case basically tooth and nail, and he won them the case. And then his law partner decided, oh, well, I want all the money. And it's like, well, that's not how this works. If I do all the work, I get all the money. And his law partner did not like that plan. It's like, well, that's kind of how it happens. Like, that just, if you don't put in the work, it's not going to let you get the money. It's that simple. Like, you need to make something useful. You need to have something valuable that you can add to the equation. Otherwise, you're just going to do nothing but bring everything down. And if you just do nothing but destroy, then you're not going to be capable of building when the time is needed. The Mongolians had that problem, where they went out and they conquered everything, and that's great. Okay, they conquered everything. But what happens when they run out of things to conquer? What happens when they no longer have an opponent? What happens next? A lot of people don't think about that. What happens next? What's going to happen after this current step of the plan? A lot of people say, oh, well, I know how to fix this problem in the Middle East. All we got to do is, and then they tell you whatever their idea is. But how many of those people actually stop to think, well, what happens next? What's the part after that? And because they never really stopped to think about it, a lot of people just don't have any form of answer. Like, they'll sit there and they'll try and tell you, hey, do this, this, and this. But if they don't know what steps are coming up ahead, what steps are next, then what use are they? They need to have a concept for the whole plan. If they don't have a concept for the whole plan, then they're not gonna get very far. Now, they don't need to have every single concept prepared for, obviously. That would be silly and quite absurd. Very absurd. But they do need to have some solid plan. They have to have something prepared. If they're not prepared, they should really hurry up and prepare, because that's going to become very relevant very quickly. And the reason is because, quite simply, they just are going to find that they need their resources to be not very concentrated in a way that allows them to maintain a thorough network. If you don't have a good network for your deployment, you're going to find yourself very, very underpowered in the long term. The drawbacks of this include finding yourself actually just entirely unprepared. Like, that is a potential result. You just might be entirely unprepared. So yeah, you of course don't want to be unprepared. You want to be very prepared. Where did I store? Oh, was it beneath the dirt chest? Yeah, it was. So yeah, you want to be prepared for various eventualities. For example, I brought in my crossbows because I want to be prepared in case I manage to die and lose my bow. I also deposited my bow in case I manage to die because I don't want to lose my bow. So yeah, how's this doing? It's managing. Of course, I keep walking in there to make my tools, and I keep forgetting. There we go. That should work for now. I'm going to need so many pickaxes. One more. Okay. Now I'm going to craft a few shovels. Craft a few more twigs out of the planks. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if this episode is in the same episode where I previously mentioned it, but I do have a Patreon page if you want to support me monetarily. I do this for free currently in my spare time, and if someone wants to give me money for it, then that'd be awesome, and I would love to have all the support I can get. My Patreon does, of course, have merchandise. So if you want to have Blue Nexus Gaming merchandise, I believe I have a t-shirt, a coffee mug, and a few other things for my long-term Patreon supporters. The funds, the profits of my Patreon will, of course, go to support me and help me grow my channel so that I am capable of producing better quality content. For example, I would love to be able to play this on computer and not necessarily on mobile phone. I am aware that Minecraft Bedrock Edition is, of course, available on Android and iOS, as well as Windows 10, various other platforms. Various consoles or interface devices, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm aware that they exist. I just don't have access personally to these other capabilities at the moment. I would love to be capable of playing on iOS and seeing what the difference is. But my primary concern right now is improving my situation with my laptop. I want to make my situation with my laptop more productive, because I need my laptop to be capable of building a strong interface, which is capable of doing all kinds of things. And the reason why I need my laptop capable of doing that is because I plan to hopefully one day work on an artificial intelligence. But currently, I just need it to be capable of live streaming content, because I plan to try and stream on Twitch or Caffeine or whatever streaming platform is prevalent at the time. I might just stream on YouTube. But my channel is going to I'm going to try and continue producing daily releases of Minecraft videos, and the videos that I'm putting out are going to continue being this long form content where I'm sitting here and I'm discussing various things that are on my mind. That's really a lot of what the draw for a Let's Play series is it allows you to really speak your mind while you're doing something productive. I would love to do the same with my Dungeons and Dragons games, but as I mentioned, my computer is not quite capable of achieving such demands. The recording software is very processor intensive, and the RAM quality, the read access memory or whatever it's called, is definitely not of sufficient quality to simultaneously record while also running the internet browser on the Roll20 website where I have my game hosted. So the technical difficulties are mostly simply my hardware is not good enough. I need a better computer, which means I need a better motherboard, because my current motherboard has a integrated processor, so I need a new motherboard so that I can get a new processor, one with more cores than just 2. I would love to have a really high-end gaming computer, and I wouldn't mind being sponsored for such content. Like, I could set up all of the software easily. I would want probably a Unix operating system installed on it with one of those multi-operating system installs. That way, if I do ever feel like I need for example, a Windows 7 operating system, I could go ahead and get a virtual disk image of the Windows 7, and I could just run Windows 7. There's, of course, emulators that are also capable of running Windows 7, and that's fine too. But I should probably end the video before I get carried away too much. But yeah, if someone wants to build me a computer to sponsor me, that would work too. Like, I'm open to negotiations, so leave a comment on the video. The comment section of my videos is actually currently the best way to get a hold of me. I do actually need to check and see if anyone has left any comments on my videos. I don't think anyone has, but I do need to double check. And do be sure to, and of course, be sure to turn into to my next release of a Minecraft video, which is of course made easier if you hit the notification bell. You will of course need notifications enabled, whether on your computer or on your mobile device. And if you do not have notifications enabled, then your notifications will mention that they are disabled on YouTube, and if they don't, then it should mention it. It mentions it on the mobile app, but you'll want the notifications for this, because obviously I'm making quality content here. I'm sitting here, I'm talking, and just speaking my mind. This is the stuff that just floats around in my head, and this is the stuff that I think about when I'm this is what clears my mind. This is, well, I guess I wouldn't say clear my mind. This is what helps me process information. That's a better way of putting it. So yeah, this is what I do to help process information. And if you want to support me just doing all of this while I build a wonderful looking base, great, more power to you. Send me all the support you can, and I'll be sure to put it to good use, probably. I might buy a hamburger or two, but the majority of it, I can assure you, will definitely be going towards the acquisition of hardware for the most part. For example, a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse would also improve my situation. Perhaps an actual desk would also be great. A microphone, a headset. I want quality headset. Something that allows me to plug in the speakers plug it into the speakers of the headset, because a lot of the time what will happen is the wire of the headset will degrade to the point where the speakers are no longer capable of being heard. However, the speakers function perfectly normal. The problem arises from the fact that you can't hear through the speakers anymore. So the real trick is going to be something like Turtle Beach. I'm going to stop the episode here because otherwise I'm just going to keep talking, because this is a long topic. So do be sure to stay safe, and until next time, keep playing Minecraft, because single player survival is where it's at. Stay safe.